your all-time Test 11, you have to pick between Glenn McGrath and Jimmy Anderson.
Glenn McGrath.
Like to.
Think about it this way. For almost 20 years, England didn't have to worry about another fast bowler, right? They just had a guy who was going to come in and was going to be good all the time. He wasn't always great in all conditions. He had to get better in certain places. But in the end, he was pretty good at those things. But the difference between that and McGrath is that McGrath, for 14 years, was arguably one of the greatest bowlers of all time. So we look at something called match factor. Have you heard us talk about match factor before?
Yes.
So match factor basically looks at the bowling average in the games they play. So comparing them to the other seam bowlers in their games. Glenn McGrath is basically the best we've ever seen by match factor. He played on a lot of flat Australian wickets where the Australians made a lot of runs. He had other good bowlers around him and he still dominated the other good bowlers in his team. Like he was just an absolute genius. And Jimmy Anderson was fine. Like he wasn't bad on match factor or anything. He was still obviously one of the best bowlers in his game. But he doesn't pop. And I think that's one thing that I would look at. The other thing I would look at is, let me take your sister's hair out of my mouth. I think the other thing that I would look at is the fact that Glenn McGrath could bowl absolutely everywhere.